Today I'm going to go over the LG WM3700, and it comes in two finishes, the 3700HWA, which is a graphite finish, and the 3700HWA, which is a white finish. Both machines are functionally and mechanically identical. The only difference is one is a graphite finish and one is in white. One of LG's crowning achievements is this 6-motion wash technology, which basically means it agitates in 6 different ways. Some of them are a little bit redundant, but some of them are actually really cool. I really like the filtration one where it kind of does like a mini spin. It seems like it squeezes the water through the clothing and really helps push out some dirt. The other one that I like is this stepping wash action, which really brings the clothes basically to the top of the tub and lets them flop down into the water. I feel like that's a really good wash action. Let's go over some specs. So this washer costs $8.99 roughly. It does have an MSRP of $9.99, but you could basically buy it anywhere for $8.99. It does have a 4.5 cubic foot capacity, 12 wash cycles, coupled with 12 separate options. It does weigh about 202 pounds and comes with a whopping 1300 RPM max spin speed. It's pretty fast. It does come with this alleged 10-year warranty, but it does only cover the motor and its parts only. It does come with the manufacturer's 1-year full parts and labor warranty. Let's go over some of the pros of this machine. One of the biggest pros is that it is excellent at stain removal. I could not be more impressed with this machine. It also has a very large usable capacity. At 4.5 cubic foot, you could really shove some stuff in there. Finally, and most importantly about the pros of this machine is that it has a drain filter access. I can't emphasize how huge this is and how important this is to look for in a machine. If you so much as lose one baby sock, it's going to get caught in that drain filter, and without that access door, you're going to be paying a service technician like $120 or $180 to come out there just to pull that sock out, and that just doesn't sound like a very good deal to me. Well, let's talk about what I don't like about this machine. The first thing, and probably the most important thing, is that this washer just doesn't use enough water. And the problem with that is also that there's no water plus feature. I really wish that this washer would use a little bit more water, but I don't know. I guess that's the government for you. The second thing that I don't really care for is the incredibly long cycles. If you do a full load on heavy duty, this thing's going to take like an hour and a half to do a load. And that to me is kind of unacceptable, but that's the norm with front load washers. So it's not really a con, I guess, but it's just like the standard these days. It doesn't make it right, though. The last, or second to last thing is the dim display. Somebody actually brought this up to me one time, and I almost didn't believe them until I actually looked at it. Because if you look over here on the display part, it looks like it's readable, but once you actually look at it in video, you can see how it's kind of dim. I don't know. Finally, the last thing that I don't like about this machine, and this is kind of typical with all machines that use very little water, is the poor lint removal. It has become the dryer's job these days to remove lint. I don't know, I don't like it, but that's just the thing with front load washers these days, and basically all high efficiency washers. The display is pretty well thought out. You do have your steam cycles, which are mostly on the left side. You have normal, heavy duty, bedding, sanitary cycle, allergen cycle, self-clean, and then on the right you have the bright whites, which is also a steam cycle. You also have the permanent press delicates, a towel cycle, the speed wash, which is pretty fast, and then the downloaded cycle. Basically you could go on your LG app and create your own cycle or figure out whatever it is that you want to do that makes you happy. On the right side panel, you have your modifiers, which is pre-wash, delay wash, steam, and a couple other things, cold water wash, all that good stuff. I do just want to point out in this picture that they do make that right-hand display look crystal clear in the LG website, but when you actually look at it in person, it's I don't know, it's pretty dim. I guess I agree with whoever called me about that. It is pretty dim and it is kind of hard to see. Anyways, moving on. I washed multiple loads with this machine, including my work clothes. I was mostly satisfied with the way it worked. However, I do wish that it added more water. Eventually, it did have what seemed to be a semi-respectable amount of water, but it pretty much took a long time for it to fill up. LGs are kind of weird where they actually kind of add and add and add, and they don't just fill up all the way in the beginning. And this is pretty clever because the initial fill, which is a small amount of water, allows for the greatest concentration of soap. So there is a method to that, although I just kind of wish that it would do that for a little bit and then fill up with a lot more water. I did wash my work pants in this washer and it turned out great. One of the benefits with the front load washer is that you're able to wash a pretty significant amount of clothes all in one shot. I also tried to wash my dog beds in this machine, which is the first test I've ever done of that nature. I will say that it didn't do that great of a job. I mean, it did get them clean. They smelled fresh, but it did a terrible job of removing pet hair. It did deposit quite a bit of pet hair all over the machine, so much so that I had to run a self-clean cycle after the fact. But I don't know. I digress. Once I put those pet beds in the dryer, they basically got hair-free or whatever, and they were fine. This washer can easily handle a queen-size comforter, and I would bet you $1 that it could easily handle a king-size comforter. And that's one of the great things about front-load washers is that they're incredibly versatile. This is one of the things that has me torn between top loaders and front loaders. I would be a die-hard top loader fan, but I can't wash my king-size comforter in it. So that's the reason I have both a top loader and a front loader at my house. So I guess the real question is do I recommend this machine? And I'd say I'd give you a conservative yes. However, I would definitely recommend that you look at some of the better LG models, specifically the ones that offer the turbo wash. That recirculating pump makes a huge, huge difference. And unfortunately, this washer doesn't have it. This washer also does not have a Water Plus feature, so you basically are stuck with whatever you have. Despite all that, this washer did a pretty good job on most of the loads. The only load that I really wasn't satisfied with was the queen size comforter, but my work pants turned out clean, my shirts and underwear all came out clean, and they didn't smell or reek of soap. Overall, I'd say if this is the washer you want to get, go ahead and get it. It's not the best one out there. It's certainly not the best LG that I've seen out there, but it's halfway decent. I would definitely recommend looking at one of the better models, specifically the ones with the turbo wash. They're worth the extra $100, and I think you'll get a lot more use out of the machine than these do. That said, you couldn't go wrong either way. Thanks for watching.